Alright, welcome back folks. We are on a weird day for me. It's Thursday, but for some reason my brain thinks it's Friday. Don't know why. Don't know why, but we have another hard puzzle today. Alright, so let's start looking here. I see these twos right here. Jump right out at me. Two across the top, two across the middle. Just leaves one spot left for a two. Alright, I see a 2 that goes down the middle here, 2 down the middle column, 2 across the top, just one spot left for a 2. Now these two guys come across the top and the middle, and then we have one down the middle column, one spot left for a 2 here. In this right center cube here, we have a 2 down the right column, 2 up the left column, and a 2 across the top, just one spot left for a 2. Now we have a 2 across the top, 2 across the middle, 2 down the left side, 2 down the middle. So this is the only spot left. Alright, that's all the twos. There's 3 numbers missing here. A 9, which I see over here. That'll help cover these. So these two are 9. A 5. See the symmetry there, folks? Symmetry? I don't know what it is. I just get giggled over the symmetry. So one of these two is a 5, and then we're missing an 8. And right now there's nothing to help us with the 8, so that can be any one of those. So 5, 9, and 8. We'll need to pay attention to those when they come a little bit closer. Alright. Let's see what else we've got here. I see an 8 over here and an 8 down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark those. Those are the only 8s that I see, so it means we're going to have to find some more of those. So here's some 6s across the middle and across the bottom. I'm just looking for pairs. Alright, and I've got a 6 down the right and a 6 up the left and a 6 through the center, so that leaves this, and that helps us to resolve that filler. Which so happens to also help us to resolve the center one. We know this one can be an 8 or a 9. We know this one can be a 5 or a 9. And we know that this one can be a 5 or an 8 because of the 5 and the 8 and the 9. So that helps us to resolve that one there. Okay, I notice a 7 is coming across here. See these ones we just filled out? I need a 7 in this column. Well, it can't be here at the bottom, so it's got to be in one of these top two. I've got a 1, I've got a 2, now I need a 3. Well, it can't be across the top, so it's got to be either here in the middle or in the bottom. And then we need a 4. Well, hey, look at this. See this right here? This 4 can't go here. So this 4 and this 7 make this one a 4 and a 7, which means this is the only one left that can be a 3. So you see how they did that a little different there, folks? There's a number off to the side or the above, and then one in the cube that singled that one out. Now I've got 2 numbers here. Looks like a 5 and a 7. 5 and a 7, 5 and a 7. The 7 comes across the middle, the 7 comes across the bottom, and the 7 comes down the right column, so we know that's a 7. Okay. Alright, oh, we can get rid of this 3. We've got our 3 resolved down here. Alright. Okay, so we've got our 4 and our 7. Okay, we've got these ones resolved. Okay, alright. Let's do, looks like some 9s here. I see, I'm just looking for pairs. That's all I was looking for. See these 2 9s? 9 in the left column, 9 in the center column, and 9 across the center row. Leaves us one spot for a 9. And now with this 9 across the top and this 9 across the middle, we have 2 spots for a 9 here. Okay, that's good. That's helpful. Alright. Let's see what else we are missing. Lots of numbers, of course. Lots of numbers. Just looking for some pairs. We got all the 2s done, so I don't need to worry about those pairs. Okay, we have a 6 and a 6 for these 2 here. Come across the middle and the bottom. And this one comes up the middle, so we know we have just 2 spots for that one. Okay, this 7 here covers this line. Can't have a 7 in any one of these 2, so we have a 7 here. Okay. Now it looks like 1s are going to be a little bit tricky here too, because I've only got 2 1s in the whole puzzle. Right there. Okay. What else do we have? Alright, okay. 4 and a 7. Okay, so I'm going to have to do a little systematicness here. So let's go with our 9s first here. We've got our 9, our 9, our 9, our 9. We know one of these two is our 9. But this one can have 4 choices. We don't have that shrunk just yet. Okay, 9 comes across. We still have 5. That could be a 9. 9 comes across here. We still have 3. Okay, so that's all of our 9s at the moment. And then our 8s. We've got 3 8s in this puzzle right here. So if we bring an 8 across, oh, that does help us a little bit here. Because no 8 can be here. Just kind of like this 7. See that symmetry? That's funny too that they're the furthest away number. But they still help us in this cube. So now we have an 8 across the top, an 8 across the middle. So we know 8 is somewhere down here in one of these 3. Okay. Down here we have an 8 across the middle, still gives us 5 choices for an 8. We have an 8 across the bottom, still have 5 choices. It could be an 8. This 8 comes across, we still have 3 choices to be an 8. However, in this column, see how there's an 8 on the bottom and an 8 in the top? There are only 2 spots in this column that can be an 8. See that right there? Okay. So we've got our 9, we've got our 8, we've got a 7 here. Now see, we've got a 7 here that says it can't be here. So we have 1 7, and this one could be a 7. Those are our 7s. 6, 5, 4, no 3 up here, no 3 down here. Ooh, hey, look at that. The 3s and the 8s line up. So this cube right here can't be a 3 or an 8. You see that? And then this cube, this spot here, can't be a 3 or an 8. So that means that this one here can't be a 7, because it has to be a 3 or an 8. Okay, so that's a double elimination here, which actually helps us to say this one has to be our 7. Okay, when you see that double elimination, that really helps us to identify the other ones, and which means this one here, the only number left in this column we need is a 1. And that helps us because remember those 1s are going to be sneaky. Now we have a 1 across the bottom, a 1 across the top, a 1 down the left. So we got another one of those 1s. One of those 1s. Cool. All right. Okay. So that helped us out quite a bit in that column. Let's see here. We're missing a 1, a 8, and a 6 up in this cube here. Okay. All right. We're still good. Okay, now we just put a couple numbers in here. We just have 3 spots left in this row because we know this is a 5 or a 7. Those are locked in. So we've got a 1, we've got a 2, we need a 3. So 3 can't go here. So we know one of these 2 are 3. Now we need a 4. Okay, now we don't have, I'm looking just vertically here, nothing to eliminate a 4. 4 could go in any one of those. There's our 5 in one of those. There's our 6, there's our 7. And let's see if we have a helpful 8. We do not. So we still have a 4 or an 8 that could go into any one of those. So that's okay. We'll come back to that. Now we've got 3 down here. Let's see if we have anything helpful here. We have our 9, our 8, our 7, our 6. We need a 5. Okay, do we have anything to be helpful with a 5? Ooh, hey, I'm looking at the 5s. Look at this. We have a 5 right here. See this ghost row? These 2 cannot be a 5 because one of these 2 is a 5. And look at this, we just put a 5 here. So in this cube here, this has to be a 5 because it can't be in this row and it can't be in this column. There we go, there's a helpful 5. And so all we're missing now is a 9 and a 4. So we can go ahead and mark these 9 and a 4. Those 2 lines are now locked. So we've got our 1, we've got our 2. We've got a 3 here, so 3 could be any one of these 3 still. We've got our 4. Okay, 5 can't be here, so 5 can be up here. 6, 7, 8 could be any one of these. And then we've got our 9. So we still got lots of choices. That's okay. What did we put a 5 here. So does that help us? 1, 2. So we've got a 4 here that comes across the top. So we know that this one can't be a 4, but we already have that. So one of these two can be a 4, right? There we go, 4. And then we're missing an 8 still, which it looks like it could be any one of these spots here. So we've got our 3, we've got our 4, we've got our 8. Okay, all right, so that's great. We're getting there. Let's see here. We have a 5 that we just put in, and we have a 5 that comes down. We have a 5 across the top. So we have 2 spots for our 5 to go. Okay, all right. Let's see here. What else jumps out at me? Looking for pairs, looking for pairs. So these 6s here are pairs, the left and the right. And then we have one across the bottom. So we know that one of these two has to be a 6. Okay, do we have another pair anywhere? Some more pairs. We like pairs. Pairs are yummy. We've got our 2s already sorted. Alright, okay, I'm looking here in this cube just for some giggles. One can be any one of these two. We've got our 2. 3 comes across, can be any one of these 4. 4. Okay, we have a 4 that comes up and we have a 4 that comes across, so that limits it just down to 2. There we go. 5, 6. Okay, we've got a 7 that comes across. We still have 3 choices for our 7. Now let's look at this one here. 7 comes across. We have a 7 that comes up. We only have 2 choices for our 7 over here. We can get that marked up. Okay, and then we have our 8, and then we need a 9, and no 9 across the bottom. So a lot of numbers can't be across the bottom here. Let's do our little check thingy here. But it could be a 7, right? Yeah, 9, 8, could be a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it could be a 7 or a 1. Isn't that neat? Just that's it. That's all it can be. This can only be a 5 or an 8. So what do we have in one of these two? We have a, okay, well, we have our 7 already marked. We have our 5 already marked. So we have a 1 and an 8 that could go over here. A 1 or an 8, and that's that row. Okay. Alright. What else do we have? What else do we have? I think I was looking at 9s and I got distracted. I saw a little shiny thing and ran after it. Okay, let's look at our 9s here. Let's go back to our 9s. We've got a 9, we've got a 9, we've got a 9, 9. We've got our 9 identified. Got a 9 here. 9 comes across. We've got 3 that could be a 9 here. We've got 4 that could be a 9 here. Okay, let's look at our 8s again. We have an 8 across the top, we have an 8 across the middle, so we have 3 spots that could be an 8. It's okay. We have an 8, we have our 8 identified over here, 8 across, 4 choices down here, 3 choices down here. Lots of choices for 8s. Okay, let's see, how are we doing with our 7s here? We've got 7, 7, 7. We've got our 7, 7 up, 7 across. We still have 4 choices. Oh, hey, look at that. There's a 7 right there, and I was marking this. So, hey, cool. Let's help each other out. There we go. All right. Okay, some food for thought. Now this 4 comes across. This 4 comes across. 4s. And this 7 comes across, and a 7 and a 7. So right there, folks, we have another double elimination. If these 2 spots can only be a 4 or a 7, because look, this 4 and this 7, this 4 and the 7, and the 4 and the 7. So that means that this one cannot be a 6. That means this one has to be a 6. Does that help us? Yeah, it does help us, because over here we need a 6. And so we have to have a 6 here. The only number we're missing is a 1. Well, that's the only spot left for the 1 to be. You can't have a 6 or an 8 across the top. Alright, so now we have a 1 down the right column, a 1 through the middle column. So now we have 2 1s here. We've got 2 numbers missing. Let's see, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing a 5, 6, 7, 8, and a 9. A 5 and a 9. Okay, I'm going to look down vertically here. I don't see anything that can help us just yet, so that's okay. We'll just mark those two fellers out there. 5 and a 9, 5 and a 9. Now this row right here only has three spots not identified just yet because we have a lot of double eliminations here. So let's look at these double eliminations. So if we have a 9 that comes across, chink-a-chink, and this is a double elimination, that means, I don't know if you guys see that there, folks, 9 has to be in one of these two spots. Now remember this middle, one of these two has to be a 9. Well, if this one has to be a 9, that is free. 9, 5, 8. Now a lot of things are going to start to cascade here. We have an 8 here and an 8 here, so this one cannot be an 8 anymore. It's going to be our 3 now. That's going to be our 8. We were going to have an 8 up here possibly, but now this 8 covers this row and only leaves us with this spot for this row for an 8. Now we had a 3 marked here and it can no longer be there. And we had that because one of these two spots had to be a 3. Well, that means this one's a 3. One of these two had to be a 4. There's our 4. Okay, so we just kind of start cascading that down here a little bit. Now that we got the 9 solved in the center, we've got our 9 on the bottom, 4 on the bottom. Now that we have the 4 solved on the bottom, we can now do our 4 on the top, 7. We can resolve the 7. Writing those two numbers down is very important, folks. I have a hard time remembering sequences for very long. So, but again, I don't know. It's been a couple games since I've said this. I had a neighbor friend of mine who was trying to learn how to play Sudoku, and he would write down every possible number in every square before we'd even start to solve it, and it can get really messy. So I try not to mark it until I have at least just 2. That helps out quite a bit. So the 2 numbers we're missing here in this cube and in this row look like a 3 and a 5, and we have a 3 here. So we know this has to be a 5, that has to be a 3. Now the 3 goes up in the right column, 3 goes up in the middle column. There's our 3. We only have one number that we're missing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like an 8. You guys are probably faster than me at that. Let's see what we're missing here. We've got 3 numbers that are missing. We're missing a 1, a 5, and a 9. See, a 1, 5, and a 9. I love the symmetry. I don't know why, it just tickles me. 1, 5, and a 9. So right here we know we have a 1, 5, and a 9. Okay. So let's mark those just for giggles here. 1, because 1's here, so it's got to be one of these two. A 5 is through the middle, so we have a 5 on the bottom and the top, and then a 9 in the top 2. So now that column is now marked out. Okay, and we have a 5 and a 9 and a 5 and a 9 here. Okay, right, so let's look and see. We've got a 1 and a 7, a 1 and a 7. 5 can't go here because we resolved that in the center. Only 2 spots for our 5 to be. So there is our 5 for this cube. Right, let's see what else we needed to resolve here. Okay, all right. Now we have a 6 and an 8 that we're missing. What's the other number we're missing over here? It looks like a 4. So if we need a 4 in this column, see, we've got a 4 here and we've got a 4 here in this cube and in this row. So this is the only spot left for a 4. Now there was a 6 there, which means one of these two places had to be a 6, and you see there's the 7. So this one has to be a 6, this one has to be a 7, this one has to be 1. They just cascade and solve themselves. So here's our 6, so this has to be 8, this one has to be 6, and we're missing here is our 8, which this 6 and 8 just flopped down here. Alright, we've got our 7, so no 7 here. A 1 is the only number that's left. We've got our 4 over here, so we can clean this 4 up. Alright, okay, let's see what numbers we are missing. We are missing one number here in this row. 1, 2, looks like a 3. Okay, In this row, we are missing a 7 and a 9. Okay, 7 and a 9, 7 and a 9. All right, there we go, 7 and a 9. Now, if we're looking, let's see here, we've got two numbers in this row here, which is a 1 and a 5. 1 and a 5 right there, folks, and there is a 1. So this cannot be a 1. Makes that a 5, makes that a 1. Now, if that's a 1, well, then there's our 5, and there is our 9. They cascade. Now, we've got our 5 here, so we just follow that through. Go to our 9. We come down here. That can't be a 9. There's our 7. There's our 9. And now that we have a 7, we know this is a 5. This is a 7. And the two numbers we're missing here is a 1, and I've got a 1 here, so this has to be our 1, 2, and it looks like a 3. There we go, folks. Double elimination is very important in this game. Those double eliminations, we had it twice where we had to single out two boxes and a single cube or row or column to make sure that they couldn't be any other numbers. Those double eliminations, very, very important in the harder games so that you can resolve and see what the other options that are left. Double elimination is very, very important part of solving harder Sudoku puzzles. Hope you guys had some fun. Feel free to leave some comments, challenges, or suggestions. Would love to hear from you. And we'll catch you guys all next time.